Yo, what's up guys, it's Yos. This has been pretty hard. I tried to explain this on stream. When I watched the back, it was very confusing. So I didn't want to just slap it on the highlight channel. So I'm going to ask for you guys to forgive me on this one because this might be a long one. I want to explain it very slowly so that it's not that confusing. I'm going to talk about these accessories, Relic and Ancient. Are they worth selling for this price right here that you're seeing? This is NA East, by the way. This is not Korea. Why am I even talking about this? Because I'm seeing this and it breaks me, man. This breaks me. 400 gold for fully cut Relic accessory. This guy is giving his gold away. What's the problem here? What's the problem? It's not the problem that he cut the Relic. It's okay. But he's selling it for so cheap. I stressed in my tier 4 guide how important the accessory shards are in tier 4. They are worth something. They are worth gold. Whether it's 2 gold per shard or 100 gold per shard, or like in Korea at the height of Ark passive opening FOMO, each shard, one of them was worth 500 gold at the peak. I'm not saying that's going to happen in NA and EU. I'm just trying to tell you guys, each shard, and you need 450 to fully cut Ancient, each shard is worth gold, is all I'm trying to say. So it breaks my heart that someone's selling it for 400. It's literally giving gold away and 1,000. While recording, I try to buy it. While explaining that this guy is screwing up, I try to buy it and one of my viewers sniped me. So let's begin. This is going to apply for players that are one day going to get Ancient accessories. If you're forever going to be 1640 to 1679, then I guess this doesn't apply to you because you're forever going to be in the Relic land. I'm talking about players who will eventually, I think the people watching this are in the end game, like they're in tier 4 land and they are excited for Ark passive and they're eventually going to get to 1680, right? Yeah, I think that's who this video is for. So you're eventually going to cut Ancient accessories. I mean, you could buy it off the auction house. Maybe by the time you get there, it will be very, very cheap for you to buy a dud Ancient accessory, like in Korea. When the FOMO ended, it was it's like 3 to 5,000 gold for fully cut Ancient accessory in Korea. We just looked at it before I ended the stream. All right. At the height of FOMO, 166K, as I said in my tier 4 guide. So I guess you could sell your Relic. I don't know if I would do it at this cost. I would just shard these, right? If I cut this and I didn't get any good rolls, these are not good rolls. And if you don't know what good rolls are, I have a guide on that on my main channel. And if you didn't watch my video about like when you can open Ark passive, what's the cheapest way and what's the most expensive way, that's also in the main channel. And I am guessing that you watched those videos. I'm going to assume because if I have to explain everything again, it's going to be way too long. So going back to these, right? If I cut this, let's say I cut this, I'm Johnny and I cut this and I got bad rolls. Instead of listing on the auction house, I would have disensembled them on that character that I cut it on. Or I could send this to my main who's eventually going to be 1680. If it's going to be 1680 soon, I will mail it to that character so that that character can have a lot of shards. Because a 6040 character, right? Let's say this is a 6040 character, cannot cut Ancient. So I would mail the accessory that I fully cut. Let's say I was trying to fully cut it so I could get a good roll to sell it. Makes sense, right? So let's say what I would do is I would maybe cut a necklace here and let's see, it'll be about like 70 plus quality. And then let's say I got, this sells pretty well in Korea, but not really in NAU. Not sure. So brand 8% is really good and sought after in Korea, even at Relic. So let's say I try to shoot for this. I would cut a necklace because of dopamine hit and I didn't get it. Let's say I didn't get it. If you got it, then you sell it and you're looking good. For 35K is pretty good. But let's say I didn't get it and I got a dud, right? These are duds, right? I call them angels. We'll talk about why. So you got a dud. Instead of selling the dud, I would disensemble it once again on that character or send it to a character that's about to hit 1680 or is 1680 so that that 1680 character can cut ancient accessories as cheap as possible. Homemade. That's what I would do instead of doing this, because this is like giving your gold away. Literally. That's why they're called angels. They are kind-hearted. They didn't educate themselves. They didn't watch my guide. And yeah, not everybody is going to watch this guide because it's too terribly long, and they're going to keep making mistakes. Or maybe they have another reason. Maybe they're not going to go to ancient land, or maybe they're going to go so slow that by the time they go to ancient territory, they're hoping that the ancient accessories will be very cheap, fully cut, like Korea, like 3,000 to 5,000 gold, fully cut. You just need to know. I'm not telling you what to do, right? You just need to know the information, and you have to decide what you're going to do with your relic accessories. Are you going to fully cut it, try to get a good roll like the brand 8% on necklace and sell it for 35K? Or are you going to fully cut it and equip it to open your Ark passive? Or are you going to save the shards for your ancients? Because you're going to be 1680 like maybe in a month or two, right? Or 3. That you decide. But I believe these are just way too cheap. That's just my opinion, right? And I'll show you what the market thinks as well, what the auction house thinks. Because they're giving away shards for 1,800 gold. And I know because, I feel like this is cheap because I bought hundreds of these in Korea at this rate. And I even bought them at 7,000 gold. And I'm not telling you guys to buy these because that's the other part of this video. You need to know when to buy these and how to profit off the angels, which we'll get to. Okay, we'll get there. But yeah, 1,800 gold for how many shards, you may be asking. This fully cut one is 24 when you disensemble them. 24. If we get 24 and you need 450. So let's say you have to buy 20. Let's say you buy 20. That's 480 shards. All right. This is going to come in handy soon. All right. So I did the math. I did the math of the current NA East blue crystals to Paeon. And it's 5,000 gold for 20 Paeons. Let's just round it. Okay, guys? It makes the video way easier, and it makes it way easier for you guys to understand and follow with me. And the accessory right here, as you can see, is 2,000. We're going to round it. So each accessory is 7,000. Each angel fully cut relic is 7,000. And then you need 20 to get 480 shards. That's 440,000 gold. Why am I telling you this? You may be asking, right? I think this is the easiest way to make you understand by step. Because if you want to rush ancient accessories, okay, let me show you. Let's do this step by step. So let's say this dropped in A gear. We'll talk about these prices, okay? But let's talk about this right now. So let's say you got this to drop off A gear, hard mode, right? And it will, on average, maybe 3 per run with bonus loot. Now, if you want to fully cut this and you don't have any shards because you screwed around with them, which is fine, you know, it's okay to screw up, just don't do it many times, right? Then you have to spend this much gold to fully cut it by rushing it with the angels. Now, should you do that? Should you rush? That depends on the market. So let's talk about that first. Remember I told you guys that Paeons can equal gold in my tier 4 guide? If you're like, some people are sitting on 2,000 to 3,000 Paeon in my chat. The best way to talk about this is give you guys multiple scenarios that actually happen in Korea. I'm not saying it's going to happen in NAs, but just follow along with me. Okay? So you did A gear, and then ancient accessory dropped with decent quality, right? Let's say 80 to 90s, right? It dropped. Fully cutting it due to FOMO, let's just say fully cutting it, and you get all bad options, which are 3 duds. It's selling well, keyword well, for 150, 60, let's just say, I just typed it, okay? 160K gold. So you would look at the angel market if you don't have shards. And you would calculate, like I did, that it costs less than 140K gold to fully cut it. Okay. So it costs less than 140K. So you're making what? You're making a profit. You're making a profit with no risk. This happened actually in Korea, right? You would buy the shards of angels if the price, like you have to calculate it, and if it's cheap. This all determined by how much it sells for. So if it sells for 160K and it takes 140K to make it, you're making a profit even after the 5% cut. Now, there's another thing. If you watch my accessory guide, I said that there's a 29% chance you get a best in slot stat, whether it's a low roll or mid roll, high max roll, or max roll with a low roll, right? Or a mid roll. So I told you guys there's like 29% chance to win. There's a 14% chance to get one mid roll. So let's say like weapon attack percentage. So if you're cutting at this rate, not only do you make your gold back, the risk to reward ratio, right? The risk is 0 because you make gold fully cutting it because the market's telling you that it's selling for 160K and the angels are charging 140K to buy and then to disassemble it, right? You also have a 29% chance to make even more gold than this. Of course, you want to just cut it with your own shards, right? If you have 450 shards every week, you want to cut it with your own shards. But then if the market is hot, that's the key word. If the market is hot and the FOMO is strong and you're getting 3 to 4 ancient accessories per egg year run, right? You're getting 3 to 4 like I did. You need to know once egg year comes out, once the market starts to pick up, the ancient accessory market starts to pick up, as well as relic too. Relic might pick up as well. Like I said about like the 8% brand on the relic necklace, right? That also popped off in Korea. I don't know if it will in A East. What I'm trying to say is this: watch the market and then check the angels if you don't have the shards, right? Because you're getting like 3 to 4 accessories per character per week in Eggy or Hard. You're not gonna be able to generate 450 shards times 4 per week, right? So you look at the angels and then you do your own math, calculate the peons, the cost of the peons, 20 each, right? And then see if you can profit. And also another thing is you also need to calculate if it's worth fully cutting or selling after one cut or cutting once and disassembling them. You also need to know these, right? How do you do that? Once again, watch the market. So let me give you an example of fully cutting when it's not worth fully cutting. So let's just say you got an ancient ring with good quality, and then you got the max roll weapon attack power. Okay, weapon attack power of 3%. Let's say, for example, that it sells for 400K. 400K, one cut. But if you search the auction house for 3 cuts, one cut being 400 max weapon. Okay, so this is how you do that. So you go to ancient here, tier 4, and then let's say you do one cut right here, right? Quality, let's say 80 plus, and then let's go to ring, and then let's go to refine bonus, and then you got a weapon. Wait, we're doing earring. Sorry, earring. Okay. So let's say we got weapon percentage, max roll, right? So let's say you search this one cut and it's selling for 400K. And then you go to 3, all fully cut it. And then you go to weapon power. And then it's max, right? And it's selling for 330K. Why would you fully cut it? I mean, there is still a chance that you might get attack percentage, but the odds of that is low. It's kind of unsafe to keep cutting because if you cut it once, it's 75 shards. If you want to continue, you see how it ramps up, right? So if one cut max weapon power percent, 3% is 400K and a third fully cut is 430K, I would just sell it for 400K unless you're feeling, you know, you're happy that you got a max cut. Maybe you want to keep going, but I personally wouldn't because the odds are against you and you're spending a lot of shards. That's up to you, right? But all I'm saying is this. You need to know the risk to reward. That's what I'm saying. Now, what about this? First cut, you get a max weapon power percent. Sells for 200k. Okay? And then the auction house says if you fully cut, right? Since your first cut is max weapon power, like let's say you get second, like max mana, and then third you got plus attack, which is like useless if you watch my accessory guide. All right, so let's say you fully cut it. Now it's selling for, let's say, 500k. Ooh, then what is the market telling you? The market's telling you, hey, maybe it's worth going all the way, right? Maybe you should keep cutting it, and then maybe this one, right? Or you could search it like this. I'll show you how to search. Like you could search it like this. So triple cut, and then like this, and you search it, right? And it's going for 500k. Let's just say it goes for 500k. Then you should probably keep cutting because you could get like attack percentage, right? And you're still going to be rewarded 300k for fully cutting. The reason why it could jack up to 500k just like Korea is because people don't have shards to fully cut. Right now in Korea, if you get a max weapon power, one cut, it's worth 40,000 gold. Fully cut is 60,000 gold. So of course, you don't want to fully cut it because fully cutting it eats this many more shards. But that's once again going back to what I was saying. Watch the market and do what you need to do off the market. If the market is giving you a green light for the risk to reward ratio, do it. Fully cut it. If the market is saying, oh, first cut, you got a best in slot option. Let's say you got weapon, or let's just say in this case, you got attack power, you got a mid roll. Let's say you got a one cut and you look it up in the auction and then you got a mid roll, right? And then it's going for 40k, 45k, 42k. And then you search up weapon power mid-roll, but triple cut, fully cut, and it's going for 50k gold. I wouldn't fully cut it, right? That's what I'm trying to say. Remember I said I will talk about these guys? Should I buy these? Remember, this is a value video, right? I will not buy these because you're going to get them for free from Aegir. And once again, I don't know what's going to happen because Aegir is not out yet. But once Aegir comes out, I'll be able to just do a shorter video. Like, hey, buy off the angels, right? Buy off the angels. And I'll tell you guys the risk to reward.